Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving right into something literally everyone uses, but hardly anyone stops to think about. We're uncovering the massive, utterly fascinating step-by-step process of how American paper money is manufactured right at the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. To really wrap your head around the sheer scale of this operation, you gotta realize that these high-speed presses are running nonstop. We're talking 24 hours a day. And no, they certainly aren't printing the daily news. Massive sheets of paper money are rolling off the lines continuously in just two highly secure locations, Washington, D.C. and Fort Worth, Texas. It's literally an industrial machine that never sleeps. Now, let's put some numbers to that because the volume of wealth being created here is just staggering. Just to give you a snapshot, in 2007 alone, the Bureau of Engraving and Printing cranked out about 38 million individual bills. If you tally all of that up, those newly printed bills were worth approximately $750 million. It's an astronomical daily output. But why exactly are they printing so much? Well, that brings us right to Section 1. The purpose? Replacing worn currency. Here's the twist. You might think all that cash is brand new wealth entering the system. Actually, scratch that. It's not. Surprisingly, the vast majority of the money rolling off those presses is just produced to replace old, worn-out dollar bills. Think about it. Paper money passes through so many hands, gets crammed into pockets, stuffed into registers. It takes a serious physical beating out there. So the government constantly has to keep the supply fresh just to maintain the current amount of cash in circulation. And it's really fascinating to see how different denominations wear out at totally different rates. Take a look at this. A standard $1 bill, it has an average lifespan of only about 2 years. It's constantly getting passed around for coffee, tips, and small purchases. But compare that to a $100 bill, which boasts a much longer lifespan of about 7 years. Those tend to sit safely tucked away in wallets or bank vaults, right? They see way less daily action. It's pretty wild how a piece of paper is a direct reflection of our everyday spending habits.
All right, let's get into the how. Section 2, the process. Intaglio engraving.
Making money isn't just about feeding paper into giant printers. It's actually rooted in this incredibly meticulous artistry. In the United States, dollar bills are manufactured using a very specific printing method known as intaglio. Intaglio printing is the absolute magic behind why dollar bills have that slightly raised feel to them, so it's not just flat ink on flat paper. This highly specialized process is what gives American currency its totally distinct, recognizable texture. To pull off this tactile effect, we have to zoom way in and look at the tools of the master engraver. These highly skilled artisans use a specialized carving tool called a burin. They have to keep that burin razor sharp using a whetstone, and they rely on a magnifying lens to guide their eyes. Using just these simple tools, they carefully carve those finely detailed images directly onto a soft steel plate. It's a manufacturing step that demands absolute precision and a ridiculously steady hand. The craftsmanship here is astonishingly deliberate, and it follows a strict sequence. First up, the iconic portrait for the front of the bill is engraved. Next, the historical monument for the back of the bill is carefully carved into the steel. Following that, the engraver meticulously cuts out those incredibly fine swirling lines you see in the background. And finally, the whole shebang is brought together when the intricate, fancy borders are completed by hand. Literally every single detail on a dollar bill begins with this manual step-by-step carving process.
Which leaves us with this final thought to ponder. The next time you pull a dollar bill from your pocket, take a second. Will you actually feel that slightly raised ink under your thumb? Will you recognize the quiet, meticulous artistry of the master engraver hidden right there beneath your fingertips? We've seen how these massive factories pump out bills by the millions just to replace worn-out cash, but it's incredible to realize that every single one carries the DNA of a hand-carved masterpiece. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.